into Scrum methodology is going to be specifically the method you're going to be using in the when we start the practical session of this program. So, and these just are more of a theoretical knowledge to equip you to the practical aspect. So I know some people might want to be a Scrum Master, PMO, or all those things, but nowadays all the agile knowledge is useful for everybody. So if I'm right, I think maybe you've attended project management generally meeting. If you've not done that, I think there will still be a provision for that in the program that somebody will come to introduce project management generally to you. So, but I'm going to be focusing more on the agile aspect today. Yeah. So, so generally, what's project management is application of two techniques and resources into set of activity in the organized manner to get a desired result and create change by producing an output that we can use to create a favorable outcome and that will lead to objectives. That is um, really what project management is all about. And it's the aim of every project management methodology is to create a useful output that organization or the owner of project can use to achieve the objective. For every project, there will be the money involved, resources, and projects are carried out in response to many business challenges, might be to increase revenue or to comply with regulations or to improve customer service or to even create a conducive environment for for staff to work, for motivation. So there are different reasons why we create project. But the way we manage the project now matters in nowadays to make sure that we have a success rate. And historically, the available method that that we normally use in delivering projects, especially the IT project and construction, is the nearly traditional one. And in IT projects, the waterfall method has been the most popular method, and it has delivered a lot of fantastic projects and in billions of any currency, and it has been the only viable, well-known, and acceptable method of delivering projects before. But recently, the tide has been changing to agile because of the benefits the agile is actually bringing to the project management world. So that is why now, if you're a project manager and you don't understand agile, you have to pick it up and trying to get experience in that area as part of your knowledge portfolio. So why agile? So agile project management is an iterative approach to delivering a project throughout a project life cycle. I will pick keywords: a project life cycle are the stages that projects has to go through from the conception to the closing. That's from the beginning, from the birth to death of the project. To they have to go through some stages where activity resources has to be used and output and inputs have to interact together to actually provide us or produce the overall objective of that project. So in a project life cycle, project go through different stages. But in Agile, the stages is iterative, is repetitive, is a bit of it that we do repeatedly to take advantage of agile values and principle so that we are getting better and better from the beginning to end of the project. In the traditional project management, is a plan driven. The this the normally go through the requirement phase, which is very time driven and rigid. When you get the requirement, is captured early, and in that case, is signed, and that become a contract between you and most of the business people. For example, in the software development, most of the technical people have to sit down with the business people to look at the business problem they are having that they need or a technology needs to solve for them. and a lot of time will be spent by the business people along with the BA and the technical to agree on the requirement. And when that requirement is agreed, there's a time we use in a waterfall. The requirement is frozen. When it's frozen, it's become contractual in such a way that before you can change it, it has to go through a rigorous change control that has to go through a lot of steering committee. So, because of that, that has a both positive and negative impact. But in that requirement also we moved to another stage, which is planning, which has to be done throughout comprehensively too. And when the plan is completed, you have to move to a design, a coding in a linear, non-reversible way. And in that kind of delivery, it worked for most for some projects, which is more appropriate for them. But um, it has become more now glaring that not all projects can be delivered successively using that kind of linear approach, and which is why the agile method is now becoming more popular. Because number one is because agile method allow a feedback loop where is allow a knowledge gained through a smaller iterative delivery, which that knowledge is actually shared to improve, to de-risk the project, and to actually manage the business community expectations as we deliver a long project life cycle. So that is why the agile method is taking over, and most of the big organizations you can know today, if they've not fully moved to agile, they are almost most of them are more than 50% agile because they've seen the benefit of delivering agile. So it's an alternative approach where you deliver a small amount of the deliverable usable, and learn from it, gather more information before you move to the next stage. So, and that approach has been uh, delivering results fantastically going forward. So, which is why it's becoming popular. So, iterative and agile lifecycle are composed of several iteration or increment steps towards the completion of projects. So, in a Scrum, we use we use the term sprints to describe the minor, all this small cycle of delivery along the project life cycle. It's not no more a full PLC. It's a sprint by sprint, small by small, and every sprint is actually delivering a usable outcome that may be part of the bigger picture of the deliverable we're working towards. So, as I've said, that kind of iteration is encouraging feedback, encouraging confidence building, promoting motivation, and also allow us to reduce the risk of the project delivery as we move along project life cycle. So the agile iterative approach are frequently used in software nowadays in delivering projects, promote velocity and adaptability. The benefit of the iteration is that you can adjust as you go along rather than following a linear plan, because you learn through the process and you can pass knowledge from one sprint to another to get better. And one of the aim of, of the approach is to release benefit throughout the process rather than waiting towards the end. And that's one of the massive benefit of agile. You can get as minimal benefit as possible from the beginning. And we call it you are getting value for your money from the beginning. You are not waiting till the end before you actually feel what is being delivered. So, which is why you can control your scope of work. If, let's say, you plan to deliver a 20 item, if 10 has been delivered, and you feel that because you can test and feel and use part of those tests as part of agile approach, you will be able to determine whether do I even need to go to do the remaining tests, which is one of the principle of agile, the act of simplicity. So, because it's giving value to the person paying immediately. But the traditional method that give value, but the owner only get the value towards the end of the project. So, and in most cases there are a lot of surprises that comes into waterfall. But believe you me, Waterfall, fantastic. They are most appropriate for some part of the project too. But Agile is taking over now because of those advantages we've mentioned. Yeah. So Waterfall, as I've said, they are entail mapping of the project into distinct sequential phase, with each phase beginning only when the previous phase has been completed. It's like finish to start relationship. And the waterfall system is the most traditional method for managing projects, with team member working in linear version towards the set of the goal. I've said that in my explanation. In my way of delivery, at times I may be on one slide and speak a lot to explain further. You can see that most of the following slide I might have explained what is on them. So I know most of you, or if not familiar with this waterfall approach, which is a kind of a linear description I've been saying. So you have to finish the green requirement before you move to analysis, before we move to design, coding, testing, and development. In these cases, we lose a lot of value being lost as we move along. There are a lot of knowledge that are not being shared. There are a lot of risk that are not being mitigated. There are a lot of opportunity that we are not tapping into. But at the end of the day, when it was the only method known, there are a lot of optimization that was done to them, maybe by increasing resources, making sure that the requirements are well gathered, which is why even the field of a BA got created, because before there was nothing BA. There was no BA. It was project manager running from beginning to end. And when they discovered that project fail, one of the main reasons why project fail is inadequate or incorrect requirement, which is why the field of BA was created to actually look at requirement elicitation, requirement gathering, and requirement modeling to make sure that the business and the technical people are actually talking to each other through BA. Because BA, we have a bit of understanding of technical, a bit and a bit of business understanding of the solution. So that's a kind of a enhancement and optimization that has been done into Waterfall. But still, there is still a lot to be done. And as I've said, there are still some projects where Waterfall is still the best to deliver them. So again, pictorial form. These are the how we depict agile and waterfall in terms of comparison. So it's like if you look at it, most of the things that happen in waterfall, they still happen in agile. It's just like they happen frequently and they happen in a bit by bit as we go along project life cycle. In every sprint, you're going to do requirements, you're going to do a bit of design, a bit of implementation, a bit of testing, and a bit of deployment too. Then you move to another level. When you deploy what we call MVP. That is a movable, valuable product. So, which is kind of a output that in most cases can be usable, that the team can actually interact with. Again, in terms of the business benefit of agile and waterfall, in if you look at the two, I think the four graph here, if you look at the business value, because the 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 agile is the red one, while the waterfall is the gray, because in we look at the business value in waterfall, you don't see the output. Even the customer will not interact with the output until towards the end of the project. So the business value will keep on increasing slowly until towards the end during the project close out. This is at the stage, deployment stage. That is when the customer will actually have the feel to even see. That's why you have to be doing what we call users acceptance testing, and that's why you have to be bringing them to come and be feeling capturing feedback. And in most cases, we've lost a lot of opportunity to get their own feedback at analysis, design, coding, and testing cases. And because of that, the business value is very slow along the project life cycle. So you only is slow at the beginning, then jump up towards the end. But in Agile, the business value is growing gradually because we are delivering, we are feeling the customer, we are getting feedback, they are rejecting, they are challenging us, they are rejecting the output, we are learning from it, we are improving. So gradually and steadily, the value for money is being realized gradually as we move across project life cycle. And if you look at the risk, which is a very critical aspect of project management. Risk can be defined as a occurrence of an event that, if they happen, it may actually impact the outcome of the project. It might impact negatively, it might impact positively. When it impacts negatively, it's called threat, and when it is positive risk, it's called opportunity. Believe you me, 90 to 80% of risk management approach are towards mitigating the negative. One of the things that Agile has made easy is making risk management very, very easy to do, because the Agile approach is actually reducing the risk of the project across the life cycle. As you can see, the red line is actually reducing. Why? Because at the beginning you are delivering, you are capturing feedback. There's no surprises. You are it's like when you say no, when you fail first, you fail fast. When you fail fast, you learn quickly. You know, you deliver a bit of the output. You call the customer to come and look at it, to feel it, to test it, and use it. They give you feedback. They say, no, we don't want this. And immediately, without spending a lot of resources, you can adjust and correct yourself, and even automatically stop the project quickly. That no, this way is not going to work. So the risk is feasible, it's managed properly. So as you go along the project life cycle, because you are sure of what you are building, it's just for an example, you are working mathematics, and you use one method and you're able to get an answer. Then you can use it for question number one. You can take that method now confidently to do question number two faster. Then the question number three, you can now say, yes, I know this approach. I can use it to solve question number three. Because the methodology has been acceptable and proven earlier enough through customer feedback, the risk of getting the approach wrong has reduced. The risk of rejecting the product is reducing, because we are interfacing with the customer constantly. Unlike Waterfall, where you have to wait to the end before customer is actually engaged properly, or they actually see the output, which is why in Agile the risk reduces along the project life cycle. You can see that's one of the reason why it's becoming popular and becoming acceptable, and give everybody peace of mind. In terms of feasibility on the third graph too, the feasibility is very clear. There's nothing hidden there, because at the end of the day, you are calling the people that is paying you. You are calling the people that is going to use the output. You are getting feedback with them through the processes. You are capturing their opinion. You are taking their criticism. You are improving on it gradually, which means there's no surprises. They are part of the delivery gradually. So the feasibility is very clear, and because of the agile, which promote information radiation to, that you don't need to wait and dig to project report, unlike states on like waterfall, where you have to wait maybe at the end of the 2 weeks, or 1 month before you do your management system report. That is when management will know that you are doing very fine or not. That's when you use your traffic light sign to show that maybe your schedule is in amber, your cost is in red, your risk is in green. But because of the openness and feasibility on information reduction, value driven agile approach, the the board is there for people to see during your daily meeting in a Scrum methodology. A lot of people can come and observe you, and your bond velocity is there for everybody to see. So most of the metrics that is driving the blood of the project, they are visible, they are not hidden. So the feasibility is very fantastic in Agile, which is one of the reasons why it's very, very popular too. Also, in terms of adaptability, it's very adaptable, and the it's very adaptable. You can see compared to the waterfall. So you can see reason and why the agile is taking over everywhere, especially in the software industry. And surprisingly, now the other part of industry, I've seen people in construction now trying to use agile as part of their processes, especially in an area where they believe that agile can function very well, especially in the construction design, where a lot of interaction, a lot of tools are being used. They're trying to push agile method to drive the design aspect of construction. That is to tell you how popular the agile method has become. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in there's what we call the three side of a rectangle of a triangle in project management, which is time, cost, and scope. In the traditional method, the cost is estimated, the time is estimated, while the scope is fixed, which is the requirement. As I've said, the requirement is frozen at the beginning. If you have to add to the scope or the requirement, you have to go through what we call change control. So it's plan driven, but in Agile, the cost is fixed, the time is fixed, and the scope is variable. The time is fixed because like for example in Scrum, the delivery is in sprints. Every sprint can be a week sprint, or 2 week sprint, or 4 week sprint. The time for delivery is fixed. The cost is fixed because the resources that have been agreed to work within the sprint, they are already known, so the cost is readily fixed. But the scope is not fixed because at the end of the day, there's a flexibility in line with the agile principle of simplicity. If you are delivering and you know that you deliver value, you don't need to do the rest of the scope. If the value, the MVP you've delivered, will actually solve the business problem, because in most cases, the business people, they don't really know the essence of what they want. And if you delivered an output and they interact with that output and they believe that output is going to solve their business needs, then there's no need spending money for that money to deliver, to do over design for others, which is why in agile the scope is flexible. Just one of those advantages to in agile. So yeah, okay. So as I've said too, agile is not a rubber, it's not a silver bullet. It's got its own advantages and disadvantages, just like waterfall too. There are some projects that are more suitable by waterfall. There are some more suitable agile. These are some of the examples of agile. Advantage is flexible. You get feedback from stakeholder regularly. The team is co-located, which is that one is no more valid. Is no more valid now because of the coronavirus. Everybody is working remotely, but we are still we still use a lot of collaboration too, like video conference. What we are using now, everybody is sitting down at their home. Unlike before, maybe this training is going to be like in all. We have to get a venue or those things, but technology is making us to be collaborating more now. But the co-location for agile team is the best if you are in the same location. But in most cases, video conferencing and technology has also improved the way we collaborate. So we earn return on investment regularly with the agile. But the disadvantage is like no advantage for project where the scope and the detailed requirements are well understood and change can be controlled. So if you know the requirement, you have so much detail and information, and you can predict the outcome. Then agile method might not be right for the project, which means you can actually use the waterfall approach when the requirement is more detailed and the environment is stable. The agile might not be the best way of approaching that kind of project. If there's uncertainty around the scope and schedule can make uncertainty around scope and schedule can make stakeholder nervous. The agile might not be the best tool. Less effective, the team is distributed, but most of this now are debatable because technology is actually changing everything. Most of people are working with a global organization now where you have a team in China, in Mumbai, some might have in Europe, in Asia, but with ape of technology and collaborating tool, we can all work together. So when the management and prioritization of the backlog. So these are the pro and core of agile to some level. They are not exhaustible in literature. There may be more of that. In terms of waterfall too, waterfall, as I've said, it's been the method we've used for more than half of a century that deliver most of the software best known. So it's a good method, but it's just like agile are better. Agile is better used in some approaches. It's a waterfall work best when they are defined requirement, best for stable environment. The team is distributed and hence control can be mitigated by defined net deliverable. Best if the resources is very scarce and have limited availability. When the plan for the project are repeatable and they are very detailed in such a way that there will not be surprises and little changes, then waterfall is the best. Then, as I've said, there are a lot of bad aspects of waterfall. Most of the things that are good for agile also about what normally opposite for waterfall. So these are the cons of waterfall. Yeah. So in terms of methodology to use for type of project, in this slide give an insight into type of selecting methodology for project delivery. It is very simple as we discussed. Very simple. Requirement is simple. Technology is well known. Then the waterfall will be okay, which is why yeah, when requirement is a bit moving to a bit of intermediate unknown, and technology is becoming unknown and uh, and complex, you can use Agile Scrum might actually be the best because Agile will allow you to deliver small, learn, apply the knowledge as you go along the life cycle. So the complexity, you are learning technology, you are learning more about the requirement, you are learning more about your environment. So your chance of dealing with complexity is more enjoyable using agile than waterfall. Then when it's chaotic, like we are building we are building a space project that nobody has done before. Technology very unknown, requirement very unknown. Then agile Kanban might be the approach where there will be what we call short interval monitoring of delivery. So, but in most cases, the organization is going to select by the senior management the approach that they want their projects to use. So, I'm not sure they're going to be bothering yourself in terms of selecting methodology, but it's worth to know. It's very good to know that when it is simple, waterfall might be the best, but when it is complex, because of the opportunity to learn and learning integration in agile actually good for complex projects. Yeah. So why agile project management? Because as customer today, we want and we expect innovative products faster, cheaper, and with better quality. So the customer are becoming wiser. They are asking for better delivery, better customer experience. They're not even asking for better. They are looking for it quicker and faster. Business are responding to markets in within a week, within days. The stock market can be natural disaster. The stock market can be very volatile. And where I currently work during anytime there's an election like this, they normally tell us that we can't go home because they don't know the outcome of the election might lead to regulatory changes. I think during the Brexit um, cutover, when there was a negotiation between D or no D, anytime there is a serious parliamentary vote now, in where I work, we have to stay back in case we need to deploy software to reflect to regulation changes immediately. So in that kind of environment, that's why you need a system that is lean and it's very quick to deliver. So and there may be need for you to respond to customer by bringing out product quicker for to take advantage of market. So agile actually help business to deliver faster and cheaper and better, and that's why it's actually becoming popular. So in summary, yeah. So what are the benefits of agile working? Build accountability because in agile, especially in Scrum, we use competent people that are self-organizing and they are allowed to actually select what they would do. In most cases, if you pick your work, you select your tasks. There's a way where you're going to be accountable for it because they will tell you that you picked it anyway. And that is it. So there's a kind of accountability culture that's built in agile. So it encourages diverse idea. It encourages diverse idea because it's a multifunctional team with different people from different backgrounds. It's a mixture of both people from business and technical background where it promotes knowledge transfer in such a way that if you're a business person, You are encouraged to know a bit of the technical aspect, and the technical guys who also encouraged to know a bit of the business aspect. So it actually allow diverse of idea. It allow early release of benefits, as I've said. The MVP, valuable products are released at every sprint, which business can actually feel, touch, and take advantage of. So it promotes continuous improvement. How? Because at every sprint, at every deliverable, there's what we call a kind of reflect and adjust meeting, which is a retro, where you look at what has gone very well, what has not gone very well, and what need to improve, and get a feedback. So it actually promotes continuous improvement, and that feedback will actually be used in the next sprint for us to get better and better. It allows decision to be tested and rejected early with feedback. As I said that the customer can actually test the product early and say, no, this is not what we want. You are not getting me right. Let's try this method again. So you fail fast. It's better you fail fast and learn from it without wasting resources too much. So it helps deliver changes when requirements are uncertain. So as I've said, it's good for a complex environment where there are a lot of likelihood of changes, because you can deliver small, get feedback, make mistake, and correct yourself. It also helps build client and user engagement by focus on what is most important, beneficial for them. Because you interact very well with the business through in a Scrum product owner and a BA, and through the Agile ceremony, you actually get a lot of interface and engagement with the client. So actually carry them along and lead to customer satisfaction. The next things like Agile can help with decision making, as feedback loop helps save money, investment, and realize quick win. I think I've explained that too. Also, this is a raw data from an organization that have actually implemented Agile, and these are the different they've seen. So this is live data, but is they see a cost reduction 9%. Yeah, the schedule reduction 33%, and their productivity jumps up by 55, and the quality of the delivery improved by 24%, and the customers are happy. Why? Because they are part of it. They are listening to, so their input are captured. So unlike in the waterfall, that kind of interaction opportunity will not happen until towards the end. And in most cases, going to be fighting and disagreeing, agreeing that this is not what we said, this is this and that. So really, if they say Agile is working, it's working. These are metric gathered in a one of the organization that they try Agile when they were trying to do a transition from waterfall to Agile by use some project as pilots, and they are able to see the good metrics, and this actually accelerate the transition to Agile. Yeah. Also, in a pictorial form, easy to understand in a balloon form. Agile is enjoyable. It increase revenue, increase productivity, improve quality. You actually build the right product. It's fun. Yeah. So it helps to get time to market quickly, because can deliver faster. So it improve feasibility. Everybody is carried along. When it's going right, everybody will know. And when it's not working too, nothing is hidden. So the stakeholders are happy because they are getting better value, and they are becoming part of the journey. It's called customer journey. So that is a brief overview of Agile covered in about 16 slides. So we're going to be going into a bit of the detail now of the Agile foundations and the origin in the next part. So you can open your speaker. I will allow a kind of questions, or maybe two or three, if you have a question or need any clarification on what we've covered so far. If you are good at typing, you can type. I don't know if you want to talk. Please, Ben, please, yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, okay. Any question? Okay, there's one question that in internship, are we going to use the agile in our practical? Yeah, see, in the internship, you're going to be using a particular type of agile called Scrum, and I think you're going to be grouped into a squad, and in the squad, you're going to have your um, different team role, and you have a kind of deliverable that you are going to work with using that Scrum method. So so we're going to use Agile in the practical aspect. If I need to answer that question, and the type we're going to be using is Scrum. So if you want to talk, you can type next question so that we can interact. Let's interact. Let's get feedback. We are delivering in Agile method. Let's our delivery be Agile. Does Scrum Master work on different product or a particular product? It depends on the organization, but it's also advisable for a Scrum Master to stick to a squad or a particular team, and work with that team to deliver the product. So it depends on the size. Maybe my Scrum Master that may be working with different, might be delivering two products together. Maybe you're working with two different squad. Uh, but in most cases, you see a Scrum Master sticking to one squad, and working on the product. Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. Any other question again? How is Scrum Master different from a project manager? Yeah, the Scrum Master is different from project manager. Number one, Scrum Master does not have the authority that the project manager has. So Scrum Master is a servant leader that is going to use motivation, empathy, conflict resolution, a lot of coaching, and a lot of other strategy to get things done. But um, a project manager has authority in the waterfall. They manage people, they manage the team, while the scrum master has to motivate to get the best out of the team. And also the project management role has actually been broken into two. The product owner and the scrum master are actually now doing the work of the original project manager. But the heavy planning aspect, the stakeholder engagement, the costing aspect of project management will be is now being more moving into the product owner role, while the day-to-day monitoring, management, tracking, updating, and status reporting of the manager has gone to the scrum master. So it's just kind of a less of a scrum master, kind of a project manager role split into two for in Scrum. So Yeah, you only have one Scrum Master in the team. How technical is Scrum Master? See, any role you are doing there, if you are technical, is an advantage, but it's not compulsory that the Scrum Master has to be technical. But you have to have idea and also understand what they are delivering. But it is an advantage for you if you understand, because they will ask you in an interview that what project experience do you have. You know what I'm saying? So if you are technical, that is a plus, but it's not compulsory that you have to. Who get paid more? It depends on organization. Okay. Okay. I think that's a good question so far. Keep question for the next interlude. I will allow question next month. So let's fire on to the other aspect of remaining part of the training. So a bit issue of agile. There is what we call Agile Manifesto. I think in February 2001 at a location in Utah, 17 people, most of them software developer, they gather together after they've I guess they've all experienced a lot of failed projects from using Waterfall, and they are looking at a better way of delivering IT projects. So, and they came up with what we call Agile Manifesto. So in 2001, a group of people got together to discuss about better way of software development, as the traditional approach was failing in reaching customer requirements. After many discussions, they came up with what we call Agile Manifesto. The Agile Manifesto is not like a election manifesto, like a summary of a guiding document that will be guiding a software delivery. And they were able to come up with the four popular agile values. And yeah, so this is the old document they used in those days. That's why the color is now is brown. I'm just joking. So, and these are the summary of what they came up with. We are uncovering better way of developing software by doing it and helping others to do it. Through this work, we have come to value that in software development, individual and interaction is actually better than process following process and tools. What that means, they believe that when you interact very well with individual, there's opportunity for feedback and knowledge than following rigidly process and tool that is actually a product of a garbage in, garbage out. So that doesn't mean process and tool doesn't work. It's just like that interaction with individual and interaction within the team, they provide more value in terms of information, in terms of delivery, in terms of customer satisfaction, motivation, and value than following process and tool. So also they agree that a working software is actually preferred than comprehensive documentations. Uh, and I'll give you a sample in the waterfall method. There's what we call BRD and business requirement documentation. If you are a BA in those days, you have to write like almost 80 to 100 requirement documents for before the project even starts, for everybody to review and sign up. And a lot of time and resources are spent on those documentations that at the end of the day, maybe we only need 40% of that. They are actually contributing effectively to the software. Others might be for compliance, trade might be just for compliance and other stuff. So they believe that spending time to make sure software work very well and work for customer is actually better than focusing on every documentation. But they don't. That doesn't mean that we don't have to do documentation in agile or that documentation is bad. It just means that the documentation is effective, it's minimal, it's tailored to requirements. So they value that. Also, the other number four is the customer collaboration over contract negotiation. It's just like they prefer working with customer, getting their feedback, even getting their criticism earlier enough, building things that will meet them, manage their expectation, and help them to drive value than to stick to contract negotiation. At the end of the way, that at the end of the day, that is the contract that is actually driving the relationship in such a way that you might stick to contract, but at the end of the day, you might produce a very bad output that the customer might not be happy with, and the customer will not call you back. It's just like maybe you are borrowing somebody is borrowing money from you for loan. You say, okay, write me, let's sign a loan agreement that you're going to pay back. Anyway, the loan agreement, you only use that agreement, you only take that agreement to court when things are not okay anyway. So if things are okay, the guy get money from you and pay back as expected. That foster a kind of trusting relationship. So that's kind of but that's kind of relationship that is promoted in Agile in such a way that you collaborate together, you fail together, you learn together, you are happy to make mistake and get feedback and learn than to be hiding your mistake. I worked in a project before where a year after we were still fighting on contracts, and every documentation we and the contractor will go and eat together, drink together. But when we are negotiating in terms of agreeing using contract, we're going to be fighting as if we are not in the same office. So that's kind of culture that contract can actually drive. But in a collaborative environment, a lot are even in law now. That's why we call adjudication is even more. They're using more adjudication more to resolve crisis, conflict resolution more than actually going into court. So right environment with the right people with the stakeholder will actually bring in more positive than following contracts. So that's what this is about. Also responding to change, very very critical instead of following plan. Because in a beam in a waterfall we do a lot of planning along all these blocks, and by the time you finish requirement planning, all this planning for you to change it, it has to go through a lot of discussions, analysis, and a lot of formal processes, and that waste time and waste money and create tension in relationship. So in Agile, we are happy to respond to what customer wants because it's like customer is king here. If customer wants and 4 items to be originally to be delivered, like do number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then if the same customer now comes back that now because the business environment has changed, regulation has changed, and is now telling you that I don't want you to do number 5 last. I want number 5 now to be done as number 2. As a customer, we're working for them. We should be able to accommodate and prioritize and reprioritize based on customer need. By the time we get to Scrum, you understand better why during our product backlog, why the product owner and the BA that what they do all the time is grooming and prioritizing work backlog, which are tasks that need to be done based on customer need. So they want us to be responding to change instead of following plan rigidly. So that will drive more value. So those are the 4 values that they came out with in the Agile Manifesto, and as shown below. Yeah. So and another aspect of it is like just to show that the item on the right too, they are very important. It's not that they are not important, but it's just like Agile value the item on the left more than the right. You can see the scale. The scale had been way towards individual and interaction, working software, responding to change, customer collaboration than following to. We're still going to use Press and to go. You're going to use Jira. You're going to use a lot of stuff. We're still going to do documentation. Still going to do some reporting. We're still going to have some bit of plan because even we have to do what we call sprint planning during Scrum, which is just a short planning of activities that need to be done. So we can't do away with planning, but it's just like we need to respond to change instead of strictly following plan. And definitely there will be contract negotiation, but collaboration actually helps more. Yeah. So In deep dive into detail, the value of those four values has now been broken down into easy to use and easy to remember and more practicable 12 principles. And those principles are now broken down into many practices. So the vault value has been broken into 12 principles, and those principles now lead to many practices. And part of the practices are the agile practices that we use. So we're going to be going into detail of those 12 principles and trying to understand them. Yeah. So as per this slide, agile is the mindset described by vault value, defined by 12 principles and manifested through unlimited number of practices. So if they wake you up tomorrow and you're going to talk about agile, just know there's one 4 and there's one 12. You have a value that is governing it and a lot of principle value about 12 principles, and there are many practices of agile in which one of it is a Scrum. It's one of the practices. There are some Lean as part of agile practices. There's some Kanban. There's some Safe, DAD. There are a lot of practices of agile. So there'll be a slide covering them, but in this program, we're going to be sticking to Scrum, because Scrum is the most popular now, as of today, that most organizations are using. Then followed by Kanban. So that is the principle in the nutshell. Okay, these are the 12 principles in a simpler way. It's also in an easy to remember presentation. Number one is satisfy the customer. Number two is welcome change. Number three, deliver frequently. Four, working together. Five, trust and support. Six, face to face. Working software as a proof of progress. Sustainable development. Continuous attention. Maintain simplicity. Self-organizing team. And reflecting and adjust. Reflect and adjust. The four is actually tilted towards manager, other four towards customer, and other four towards team. In terms of this, the way the 12 principles actually shape. We'll go to next slide and do a bit of deep diving into them individually. When you are satisfying customer, the one of the principles is our high priority is to satisfy customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Early and continuous means that from the beginning you can be delivering value to the customer through the iterative processes as early as possible. At every sprint, you have to deliver what we call a shippable product that the customer can actually interact with, and in some cases might be applicable. Maybe you might have to maybe combine a product for 3 to 5 sprints for you to get out to actually deliver a whole deliverable. But at the end of every sprint, there must be an output that is testable, that the customer can feedback on. It might be a part of continuous development, a part of what a bigger part, but that should be on its own, is simple and independent and testable. So by doing that frequently is the priority of the software team to make sure that the value is delivered frequently and continuously along the project life cycle. The next one is welcome change. Welcome change requirement in changing the requirement, even late in development. agile process are not changed for the customer's competitive advantage. As I've said or explained before, customer might have reason to change. It might be because of regulation or reacting to competitor in the market. So we have to be empathetic and make sure that we prioritize our work based on what they want us to do. Number one, they are paying it, they are paying for the project, and number two, we are delivering for them anyway. So we need to respond to the way they want us to do it, which is why we always do prioritization and reprioritization in backlog grooming regularly with product owner, scrum master, and the team to make sure that customer requirements are actually prioritized regularly as we are delivering. So we deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference for a shorter time scale. The Scrum, which is one of the practices of Agile, is so good that you can have a sprint. A sprint, as I've said, is a delivery cycle of a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on the organization. And within that, there must be an output, as I've said, which in line with delivering frequently for customer that would be useful for the customer. So instead of keeping a project of 18 months and the customer has to wait the end of 18 months before they even see the output in a waterfall, frequently we have customer interaction here, which is in line with agile principle, which is where the sprint um, 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 duration actually come from, in line with this principle of continuous frequent delivery. That's why we have in some cases 2 week sprint, a week sprint, 4 week sprint. I think is the maximum. Yeah, depending on what is suitable for the organization. The number four is that working together. Business people and developer must work together daily and throughout the project. So it's a principle of which is in line with interaction and individual. When you work together with the business, you get information to help you to prioritize. You get their feedback on your output. You get better, you manage your expectation, and there's no surprises. That kind of environment will actually deliver something better than it's like you give an assignment to somebody and the person is not submitting. It's not giving you a feedback. You are asking, say, I'm coming. I will give you tomorrow. You start believing that I hope this guy is actually doing something right. But if you give assignment for somebody to submit on Friday, and on Tuesday the guy say, excuse me, this is what I've done. Can you help me check whether I'm on the right path? You say, no, you are missing this. This is not good. This is okay here. The person will say, thank you. Thank God I've not wasted my time. That is that kind of culture that is in Agile. When you work together with your customer, you get their feedback frequently, and that actually guide you to reduce the risk of delivery and give you confidence. And when you have confidence, that improve your pace and psychological boost, and that actually make the agile enjoyable in terms of working. Because when you know that what you are doing is right anyway, your energy will increase, and the team will be able to work very well and faster. So there's no I don't know where we are. I don't know whether we're doing things right. When you are doing things right, there's a theory X and Y in terms of a team delivery that if people know what they are doing, they do it faster. So so that's the advantage of working together. So trust and support is part of the principle. Build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and the support they need, and trust them to get the job done. So agile team, you need to trust the agile team. Number one, you have to recruit the right people. You have to make sure your team consists of the right set of skill matches and combinations, so that when they are talking, when they are analyzing, when they are criticizing, when they are suggesting, that's where the idea there's a common saying that most of the good things that we're enjoying today, they were discovered by mistakes. So from people talking, no wrong answer, no stupid question. From there, you can actually get a good solution to complex people. So you have to trust your team, you have to empower them, create the right environment, give them tools to use, and trust them to deliver. So That is about trust and support. The face-to-face conversation, which is the most important way of communication, is the most efficient method of conveying information to and within development team is face-to-face, even in real life. Face-to-face is the most important thing. If, for example, if you are not in good time with somebody, the day you see the person face-to-face, two of you will shake. Somebody that cannot argue with you on the face-to-face when they are on the phone, they can be talking to you on the phone because they are not seeing you. But when they see you face to face, there's more than verbal communication in face to face. There's a body language, the emotion aspect, the passion, all those things comes together will make actually a communication to be total. So that is why face to face is the best kind of communication, and that's why co-location of team in Agile is actually the best. But as I've said, the coronavirus is messing a lot of things up now, but also good. The technology is bringing us together, so we may not be able to get the full advantage of co-location, but we are the technology is not making it looking bad in terms of face-to-face advantage. Working software is the primary measure of progress. Yes, this is very key. In the traditional waterfall, there's a regular status report, a regular progress report, a regular all these things that you have to show the status of the project you are doing in terms of your risk, in terms of your cost, and in terms of your milestone. And the management won't see all these things until you submit this report. And in most cases, that report, it depends on how good your grammar is, on how you can how you can present cases very well. You might actually be having problem, but you say it in such a way that it's looking very good on the paper. Excuse me. It's looking very, very fantastic on the paper, but at the end of the day, in the software, you are far from truth. But in Agile, it's when that it's working that we know that you are progressing. If you can produce a fantastic report, but if the software is not progressing, you are not making progress. So that is one of the good thing about Agile. So what this thing is doing is like it's actually reducing the risk because you will know whether it's working or it's not working. So the push to get things working, the push to produce output, the push to make things better will actually reduce the risk of delivery of the project across life cycle. So that is the background to that. Then sustainable development. Agile process promotes sustainable development. The sponsor, the developer, and the user should be able to maintain a steady pace indefinitely. Where this comes into place is in Scrum. When you let me go back to this slide. When you are in sprint, you are delivering in sprint one here, sprint two, sprint three. In sprint one, you're going to get some issue. You're going to know yourself, run into some issue, but at the end of the day, you deliver, you get a feedback. Then the feedback will be used in sprint two, which make you better, and which means you're going to be deliver more or faster. Then in sprint three, you get to a level in such a way that because you are continuously delivering and getting feedback and gaining confidence, and the project is the risk is going down, you'll be able to be predictable. Your delivery will be sustainable in such a way that we know that the team would the agile squad. I'm used to squad because that's what I use. I'm used to from where I work. Some people call them agile team, agile club, agile squad. People use different terminology, but what that means is the group of people working together on as a agile team at a time. Because they've been together, they work together, and they are learning together. There'll be a time where you'll be able to predict their output. You will know that these guys they've been delivering they are in a sprint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've seen that in 5 they are able to deliver a 10 item, in 6 they deliver 10 item, 7 they deliver 10 item, 8 they deliver 11 item. You'll be able to you'll be able to forecast on their deliverable. So it can be a sustainable, they can be a sustainable pace of delivery that you can forecast on and predict on in the team after they've matured. At the beginning of the sprint, the team will struggle because they are still catching up. They are still trying to solve a lot of problems. But by the time you get to sprint number 5, that is best time you start measuring the velocity of your team, where they can now predict that, okay, this team should be able to deliver a 50 story point or 70 story point based on how your task is measured. The time story point that I use there is a kind of a quantity that metric that they use to qualify task in Agile. We're going to get there. A simple task can be like a simple 2 story point, while a complex task can be like a 5 story point. By the time you combine a lot of tasks together, like say you have 5 tasks of mixture of story point, you might be having a resultant 50 story point in a sprint. So that way you'll be able to this is what this area, this thing is talking about there. Because what employer want you to understand and what interviewer want you to understand is like, do you understand agile principle? You understand? Do you Can you link those principles to your activity, to your behavior, to your delivery, and to the method you are using? You must be able to link your behavior, link your approach, and link your stage, any stage you are in any agile method your organization have chosen, into a principle that that is guiding you. So the sustainable aspect is one of the area where your velocity is actually can be predictable. Continuous attention is the next one, which is continuous attention to technology excellence and good design enhance agility. Yeah, because the team are working together, they are learning, they are competent people that they are I've forgotten the word, um, self-managed in such a way that they can actually bring in a lot of new way of working. There is allowed. Innovation is allowed in the team. You have you have to trust them to make sure that allow them to break the boundary. No strict compliances. Let them learn and bring in new idea that can actually leads to best design of the solution we are working for. Maintaining simplicity is a way of saying, of making sure that the act of maximizing the amount of work not done. I said in one of the examples when I was explaining the other time that if originally your customer believed that maybe you need to do like 10 tasks before you will be able to actually deliver the output, and after 5 tasks and the output that has been delivered is actually usable and will solve the problem, then keep it simple. Let's stick to that 5. Let them go and use it, and let's solve the remaining 5. That means we're saving resources. So that is act of keeping it simple. You only deliver as at needed. So no excesses, no over design, no gold plating. You know what I'm saying? So also the next one is a self-organizing team. The best architecture, requirement, and design emerge from self-organizing team. These are the team that you're allowed to learn on their own. As I've said, they are just trust them. They are motivated team. They are competent people. Let them bring a new idea, bring their design, and let them self-organize, and they can actually come up with a lot of innovation. The last one is reflect and adjust. At a regular interval in Scrum, at the end of the day, we do what we call the retrospective meeting, where at the end of every sprint, the team will come together and look at what has gone well for them during the sprint, what that needs to be changed, what new thing that needs to be brought in, and the thing that they need to drop, which are the things that did not go well. So there is this backlog had to be logged and documented, which is part of why I said in Agile 2 you still need documentation. So you reflect and adjust is a source of continuous development and source of learning in Agile, and it's one of the key strengths of Agile, where you can get feedback and improve into in the along the project life cycle. So those are the 12 principles in nutshell, and and there's a lot of literature on them. But what I would advise you is nobody's going to tell you to state all these principles, but make sure you can link those principles to your role. Any action you are doing, any meeting you are attending has to be in line with some principle in in agile. So that is when you can link your what you are doing to that principle, that will show your depth understanding of agile value and principles. Yeah. Okay, on the lighter mood, these are a good slide to actually demonstrate how our customer can be happy in agile. For example, the keeping it simple aspect in uh, in the principle. If you just need something to move from A to B, and the skate bar is enough for you to move, then why do you need scooter? The customer wants to move from A to B. You give them the item number one, they can move. They are happy. When they start using that, say, oh, I don't like that one now. I now need a scooter. Then you can now gather requirements, upgrade, and do scooter. What do you have to? You see, have a customer that is happy. Then, as you progress, business requirement might change that. Okay, we need to we need to in this case you are not only you are continuously engaging the customer, which is in line with the customer satisfaction. You are delivering frequently because you are giving this guy, you first give a skateboard, then scooter. That's a frequent delivery. You welcome change when the guy complained that, oh, my scooter is now bad, it's not moving faster, we need to move to bike. That's you align with that. So this is a very good illustration to help our memory. Then and continuous attention, self-organizing, reflect and adjust, all those principles are all here. An happy customer here, a customer that needs something to move. By the time you are giving the customer from this to a scooter to a bike to a moblet, then before you produce the car, which means at every stage, this customer is getting value for money gradually. You are keeping the customer engaged gradually. You are listening to the customer, you are changing the requirement gradually. The customer will continuously be happy. But look at the customer in Waterfall up. The guy wants to deliver a mobile an item to move from point A to point B. The first thing you are doing is tire, then you join two tires, then you do the body, then you now join it. It's when the guy is now happy in number four. This guy has been bottling up, bottling up, bottling up from stage one to three. But at stage four, God save you, you cannot deliver the car. But look at the other one. This guy has been very happy from beginning. He's been seeing value for money. So that is a visual way and a more a lighter way of looking at what and why agile is so good and so important. So that's a good illustration for that. Yeah. So in terms of iterative development, the method we're going to be using is in the internship, as I've said, is Scrum. The sprint is the delivery cycle of 2 weeks, 1 week, 4 weeks, depending on what your team method your team is choosing. But at the end of every sprint, there will be what we call retrospective, which is a process of feedback to check what has worked very well, what has not worked, what new thing we need to make. And because of this feedback loop that has been built into Agile, that actually one of the key reasons why Agile is actually succeeding. And that feedback loop is in line with this principle of reflect and adjust. Because they can tell you, show me your, can be an interview, show me the depth of your understanding of Agile principle. You can go to Scrum straight away and dissect Scrum and how it's linking to different Agile principles, all the processes that we're going to use in Scrum, where and how it's linking to the principles, because they are all must be in line with the Agile principle. So this is a kind of communication model that to back up the face-to-face communication as the most effective, followed by video conferencing, which is what most organizations are now adopting, then telephone, two-way radio, writing address documentation on address documentation. So in terms of communication, face-to-face is the best. Then video conferencing is next, which means the technology has also helped us to actually bridge the communication gap in terms of minimizing the impact of non co-locating as expected in agile principle of face to face, where yeah, face to face communication at least. We do video regularly. In most cases, we do Zoom in a small team. Every morning in your Scrum team, you can do Zoom and see gets most of those face to face feeling. Yeah. So the next area we're going to be going into, as I've said in the beginning, Agile is like the umbrella body of a lot of practices. In this slide, I said Agile has a lot of practices, which is guided by four value and principle with a lot of practices. These are all the practices of Agile I was talking about. There are some lightweight practices, which are Scrum, Lean software development, Kanban, extreme programming, continuous integration, continuous development, feature-driven development, test-driven development, crystal clear. These are a sample of a lightweight approaches, but in most cases, Scrum and Kanban are the most popular. Then there's a heavyweight or full approaches, which is Scrum of Scrum, Scrum at scale, less safe, that DSDN, Agile, and all these things. These are at portfolio level. It's like the Scrum of Scrum is like a project and program level kind of arrangement in the old waterfall. So, but at this stage now, we're going to be restricting ourselves to Scrum for us to get the benefit and the principle and learn it. Then gradually, in in and it's the entry route into Agile anyway. So if you're going to be doing Scrum or Scrum, any organization you find yourself or you join will be able to direct properly. But Scrum or Scrum is a combination of many Scrum teams together. It's like when you are building maybe application with a lot of functionality in such a way that maybe a team is building the front end, some team are building the back end, a Scrum might be building the front end, or they're building the back end. The Scrum or Scrum is about making sure that all different Scrum teams that are working on the product, they are interfacing and they are managing dependency, and they can be able to prioritize their backlog, what that needs to be done based on the dependencies of the different aspects of the work stream. That is when the Scrum of Scrum has to come into. In that case, the Scrum Master of every team will meet in their own Scrum or Scrum meeting to look into progress and dependencies and be able to take the feedback to their own Scrum team to prioritize the backlog and able to feedback to them in terms of what needs to be done. So that is a kind of a Scrum or Scrum. Yeah. So most Scrum is most common agile practices are this Kanban and Scrum. And if you are new to the field, I will still want you to keep yourself within the two. As soon as you are gaining your ground and you are learning and you are becoming more confident, if required in your organization, you can be moving to other area. So okay, I will entertain some question again. Yeah, let's um, let's get feedback. Let's do reflect and adjust, and let's adopt principle number 10 to guide our delivery. Okay, so you can send your question. Somebody is asking what are the four value prints. We're still getting there. The four values, I think this is not a latest question, but the four values have been, I have to answer that question. These are the values. These are the four values. The individual and interaction over process and to working software and all this, and the principles are these 12 that we talk about. So Agile has four value, 12 principles, and many processes. That is in the nutshell. Yeah. Question, guys. Okay, is BA part of a Scrum development team? Good question. I think BA has been very lucky in Agile because the project manager, they are not very lucky. Most of their role, the project manager role disappeared, but BA role actually survived because in most cases BA can be part of. It depends on how the organization is structured. I will touch base that in as we go along. BA work within the Scrum team for to clarify requirement. So you can have a BA working as a Scrum team to clarify requirement in a situation where you can also have a BA supporting the product owner to make sure that they are grooming the requirement on regular basis. It depends. That's why you can see a BA working for product owner or a BA working within the Scrum team as part of the team to help them clarify requirement. It depends on organization structure. During internship, we will be using Agile or Scrum to liaise with different. Well, there's no Agile. It's like a surname. Scrum is like a last name. So Scrum is a type of Agile. So they are not different. It's not Agile or. So Scrum is a form of Agile. Just like you want to keep it simple, just like a Catholic is a form of a Christian, and Redeem is a type of a church. Uh, um, Church of England is a type of church. So it's still the same. So it's not so Scrum is a form of Agile. During internship, could you kindly recommend textbook? Okay. Well, maybe later we can look into that. During internship, we'll be using Agile. We'll be using Agile Scrum. So, any question during internship, will you be using one new question? What role can someone qualify to do after Scrum training? Will you recommend one to be a product owner or a product manager? Okay. In after the Scrum training, it depends on your own area of competencies. I know within your team, within your Scrum team, there will be some people that they are interested in testing. There will be some people that their interest is in BA. There will be some people that their interest will be to be a Scrum Master. I think those three roles will be very clearly defined during the internship. So it now depends on the area you find yourself. You feel more comfortable that you want to be. And I know as part of this program, you're going to be going through a PM training introduction, a BA introduction to a software testing introduction, a developer. I don't know. I think there will be some development uh, introductory aspects too. So as a part of Scrum team, you can develop yourself to be a developer, a tester, a Scrum Master, or a BA. Which of this role you mentioned is more lucrative? Lucrativeness depends on organization. Some PM in one organization might be earning 1,000, while a PM in another organization might be earning 5,000. So some assistant PM in the organization might be earning 5,000, while a project manager in the fish industry might not earn as a project manager in a stock exchange. So money is not an issue here. It depends on the organization and how they are paying. Which role is mentioned is more lucrative? Yeah. I will advise you align with any role that you feel you are comfortable with first. while money is important, I think the confidence and your ability to do the job will actually give you more chance to even ask for more money when you know what you're doing. Yeah. Okay, you can add the yeah, no problem. Thank you very much for the clarification, Deji. That's very handy. So as Deji said, you can multitask when you're on the road, but it's always very good to stick with one so that your mind will focus on one. Then you can channel your energy towards that and get mentor in that area and all those things. So okay, is there any Scrum Master certification? Is there any certification for? Yeah, there are a lot of Scrum Master certification out there. So yes, yeah. No, that's very good. And if you can do more than one too, it depends on it make you look good. But most of these certifications they are interlinked in such a way that when you have one or two on your own, it's going to help you more because the whole the whole IT world is becoming more of cross-functional team now. They want to have a bit of different knowledge for you to function and interact very well within the team. So that is good. Okay, if there's no question, I think today's session was agreed to be up to half 10. So we are 7 minutes early, over our time. Sorry, we started a bit about 5 minutes late. So the next time we're going to be doing deep diving into Scrum now in the next lecture. So what we've done today is to ground us very well on the background of Agile and the principle and the value different between the two common delivery method. So we're going to now pick Scrum now from next week and be doing a deep dive into it because that is what we're going to be using in the intensive. So I wish everybody best of luck and let's make sure we have a very good attendance like today too in next week. So one of them is going to be hands-on, is going to be more valuable on what you're going to be using in the internship more. The different roles will be defined and there'll be room to answer questions and for further clarification. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.